Master bringing you part 25 of Fossil Fighters. Let's get to it. Last time on Fossil Fighters we became a Master Fighter and we started a new chapter, Chapter 7, The Revival. So we are now a Master Fighter and the Master Mask has been sent to the salon. So when we leave the hotel, Rosie comes by and says, "Oh, Master, perfect timing. You know those idols that the BB bandits were after? Turns out they do have a hidden secret. They're not just old statues, there's advanced technology inside that no one's ever seen before. Dr. Diggins has them over in the secret lab now, doing some testing. Let's go on and see if we can learn more. We might even find more about Duna and what she's all about. The secret lab is over in the basement of the Richmond building. Let's go." So now we are going to head to the Richmond building. So when we get there, there's a big looking mouse thing. And Rosie says, "What is that, an aardvark? A beaver with a tail injury? A gerbil that's been working out? Well, I guess it looks most like a huge mouse." With mice that big running around, what in the world has the cleaning lady been doing with her time? Wait, the cleaning lady is usually here by now. Where is she? Hey, look. The trees blocking the entrance to the secret lab are gone. "Excuse me, Mr. Guard? The beam. Squeak. Get a hold of yourself, man." Secret lab. Underground. What about the underground secret lab? The beam. Squeak. Okay, this guy's pretty much useless. Master, let's just head down to the underground secret lab. So when we get there, Duna and some other Dinorian are taking the idols. Then Rosie says, "Duna." Then Duna says, "Rosie, Master." Then the other Dinorian says, "Hello, humans. My name is Rapton. I have taken the liberty of letting myself in. Thank you." "Hey, this is private property. What are you doing here? Explain yourselves." How to explain in such a way that you'll understand. We are Dinorians, a superior life form. First, I should thank you for collecting all the sub-idol comps for us. Clearly, we should have hired you from the beginning instead of that useless bulwark. Herodus, wait, you hired the BB bandits to look for those tacky idols? Well, yes, sub-idol comps, actually. We require them to make some adjustments to an experiment. This experiment, you might be interested to know, involves wiping humans off the face of the earth. Whoa, slow down. You can't possibly have said what I thought you said. I assure you, I did, and I meant it. I suggest finding some way to occupy yourselves until your time comes. For example, you could practice scurrying around on all fours. Then Rosie was transformed into one of those mouse things. Then Rapton says, interesting. Did the beam actually work? I have such trouble telling one mammal from another." Then Rosie bites Rapton and Rapton says, "Stop it. Do not bite me, you filthy beast." Oh, so primitive and brutish. Now, you're next. Then Duna says, "Rapton, we have the idol comps. Let's hurry and get back to the ship. Just leave him alone." And Rapton says, "Get out of the way, Duna, unless you care to revisit some earlier branches of the family tree." Must be out of power. Oh well, it should keep him knocked out for a while. So, Duna, shall we return to the ship? Where is my teleporter? It must have fallen off my neck somewhere. Duna, let me use your teleporter. I will go first. Master Rosie, I am so sorry. And then we wake up in Rosie's room, and Rosie's still that mouse thing. And then she's trying to get us to follow her. And then we see Mr. Richmond saying, Diggins, who are those two on the security camera, and what do they mean by Dinorians? Then Diggins responds, Dinorians, could these be humanoids that somehow evolved from dinosaurs? Very interesting. This is all speculation, of course. One thing is for sure. These Dinorians have technology far beyond ours. Better than yours, Diggins? That is impressive. Mr. Richmond, do you think they might have something to do with the secret site? And then Richmond says, Oh, Master, you're awake. We saw what happened in the secret laboratory. It was recorded on the security cameras. I'm sorry you had to go through that, son. It's Rosie, though, who I'm really worried about. What have they done to her? Then Richmond says, There, Rosie. I wish I could make you feel better. Oh, mice like cheese, right? I'll go get some. Then Diggins says, With all due respect, Mr. Richmond, Rosie did not get turned into a mouse. She was turned into a trichondonta. A trichondonta? What's that? Trichondontas were ancient creatures that were predecessors to some modern mammals. The ray that hit Rosie must somehow revert creatures to earlier evolutionary forms. Put another way, it alters your DNA to match that of your most ancient ancestors. That's utterly terrifying. What a devastating weapon. Yes, we'll have to take that dino being's threat to wipe humans off the face of Earth seriously. I only wish we knew more about them, if only to understand their motivations better. And then Rosie gives us an odd-looking pendant, and Diggins says, What is that thing? Could this belong to the Dinorians? Yes, that's it. Rosie must have taken it when she bit that Dinorian man. Good girl, Rosie. Wait to keep your head in a crisis. There's a switch on it. It looks like some sort of electronic device. Now, Diggins, don't you go pressing buttons. We don't know what that thing could turn people into. Don't worry, I'm not that careless. Achoo! Oh, darn. I accidentally pressed the button. What just happened? Where are we? I don't believe it. Look out the window. We're in space and presumably aboard a spaceship. So this pendant is some sort of teleportation device then. Fascinating. But wait, this spaceship, is this the Dinorian base, and where in the galaxy is it? Then a Dinorian walks up. Says, Hey guys, looks like you forgot to turn off your disguises. You know the rules. Holography disguise devices must be turned off inside the mothership. Or is there some other reason you look like humans? Like you're actually real humans that sneaked aboard somehow. I'm only joking. Come on, what are the odds that real humans could get here out into orbit? Anyway, shut off the holography devices, okay? Phew, that was close. We can't stay here looking like this. Let's get back to Earth. Diggins, Master! Don't scare me like that. You just melted away in front of me. What happened? You won't believe this, but we were teleported to a spaceship, apparently the Dianorian mothership. We need to go back. That spaceship is our key to finding out more about the Dianorians. But we're going to need disguises, some way to avoid looking too human. I think I have an idea. I don't know if his strange sense of honor will allow it, but you could ask Saurhead for his mask. It's an extremely high-quality mask that might just do the trick. Master, I want you to go over to the Fossil Stadium and ask Saurhead if you could borrow his mask. I'll be over in the Fossil Center running some tests on this device. Come meet me in the Fossil Center as soon as you get the mask. Good luck. So now we're going to head to the Fossil Stadium to talk to Saurhead. So when we get there, Saurhead says, Richmond told me to expect a visit from you. He says you need to borrow a mask. Do you realize what you're asking? You might as well ask to borrow my face. Most people who have asked Saurhead for a favor like that would get a world of pain for their trouble. For a master fighter like you, I might make an exception, but I can't just hand it over. You're going to have to earn it, boy. You have to face off against 15 of my Vivisaurs. 5 straight battles. If you survive until the end of the sudden death match, I'll give you the mask. Oh man, did you hear that? Saurhead's going to battle and put his mask on the line. And a sudden death match. I don't know what it means, but it sure sounds exciting. Are you ready now to enter a sudden death match? And we replied, yes. And then Saurhead says, yes, that's the answer I expect from a fighter of your caliber. Begin. So, Saurhead's first consists of Brachio, Jara, and Neo. So first, Saurhead uses Neo combo, which does a critical 50 damage and excites Shoni. And then Jara uses Knockout Cry, which does 11 damage but does not put Shoni to sleep. So now we are going to use Corona Bite, which does 75 damage, and then Elasmo Tackle. So now our FP recharge is 180 now that we are a master fighter. So then Neo uses Neo combo, which does 35 damage but does not excite, and then Jara uses Knockout Cry, which does 11 damage and puts Shoni to sleep. So now we're going to use Corona Bite, and it defeats Neo. So we're now going to use Elasmo Tackle, which does 67 damage. So then Brachio uses Earth Crush, which does 83 damage. And then Jara uses Distracting Cry, which does 21 damage. And steals 60 FP from us. So we're now down to 0 FP. So now we're going to use Corona Bite, which does 84 damage. And then Elasmo Tackle, which does 70 damage. And then Brachio uses Earth Crush, which does 81 damage. Then we're going to use Elasmo Tackle against Brachio, which should defeat Brachio, and it does. And then we're going to use Corona Bite against Jara. So, it did 84 damage. So then, Jara uses Spike Blast, so it does 6 damage to Jara and 180 damage to Shoni. So now we're going to use Elasmo Tackle, and this should defeat Jara. And it does, so we beat Saurhead's first out of 5 battles. Don't get too comfortable just because you won the first battle. Things won't be so easy in the second battle. So for Saurhead's second battle, he is using Anklo, Cryo, and Engato. So again, Saurhead goes first, and Cryo uses Cold Shout, which does 22 damage. And then Engato uses Poison Combo, which does 21 damage. So now we're going to use Corona Bite, which does 55 damage. Then we're going to use Elasmo Tackle, which does 39 damage. And then Cryo uses Toxic Rune, which does 0 damage but poisons Shoni. So now we're going to use Corona Bite, which does 52 damage, and Elasmo Tackle, which does 39 damage. And then Poison damage does 168 damage to Shoni. Then Cryo uses Cold Shout against Shoni, which does 21 damage and excites Shoni. Then Engato uses Poison Combo, which does 20 damage and poisons Shoni. So now we're going to use Elasmo Tackle against Cryo, which should defeat Cryo. And it does with a critical 61 damage. So now we're going to use Corona Bite against Engato, which does 77 damage. So then Engato uses Poison Combo, which does 29 damage, and then Anklo uses Toxic Spear, which does 19 damage. So now we're going to use Corona Bite, which does 72 damage, and then Elasmo Tackle, which should defeat Engato. So then Anklo uses Toxic Spear, which does a critical 57 damage to Shoni and poisons. So now we're going to use Whirlpool against Anklo, which does 109 damage. And poison damage does 84 damage to Shoni. Then Anklo uses Anklo Combo, which defeats Shoni. So we are now going to use Whirlpool again, and this should defeat Anklo. And it does. So we beat Saurhead's second. So now we'll have to battle Saurhead's third. And for Saurhead's third, he is using Karchar, Patchy, and Acro. So Saurhead saves up his FP first, so we're going to use Corona Bite against Karchar. which does 66 damage. Then we're going to use Elasmo Tackle, which does 52 damage. So Karchar uses Earthen Blast, which is his team skill, so it does 96, 48, and 46 damage. So now we're going to use Corona Bite again, which does 71 damage, and then we're going to use Elasmo Tackle, which does a critical 80 damage and defeats Karchar. Then Acro uses Acro Fury, which does 96 damage and excites Shoni. So now we're going to use Corona Bite, which does 78 damage, and then Elasmo Combo, which does 81 damage and enrages Acro. So Acro uses Acro Fury, which does 107 damage, and swaps Acro out for Patchy, and Patchy uses Iron Ram, which does a critical 51 damage. So now we're going to use Corona Bite, which does 79 damage, and then Elasmo Tackle, which does 70 damage. So then Acro uses Acro Fury against Corona this time, which does 44 damage. So now we're going to use Corona Bite, which should defeat Acro. And it does. So we beat Saurhead's third, and with that we will conclude today's episode of Fossil Fighters Part 25. Join us next time for Fossil Fighters Part 26, where we can see if we get Saurhead's mask.